Hello to my wonderful art students. I am so glad to be back with you again. I miss having you in the art room, but it is great that we are still able to do distance learning and continue creating art together. Before we begin, I want to tell you a few things. This month we are featuring San Antonio artists, so you will be learning from somebody I cannot wait to tell you about. Before we begin, I want you to remember that this is your art. However you create it is yours. I want you to find the supplies that you can in your house. We're going to do a self-portrait, and I'm going to use some colored pencils. So if you can go through and find, if you have colored pencils or if you have crayons or something that you can shade with, that would be great. If you just have one color of a pencil and you're going to be able to use heavier lines and lighter lines and do some shading on the side of your pencil, that will work too. Just use what you have and create art. That's the most important thing. And this lesson is specifically for fourth grade, but you are welcome to do any of the assignments that I have placed on the Kimberly Sentner Art channel this month. The artist that you will be learning from is Tony Pro. Yes, that's really his name. His name is Tony Pro. Tony is a professional artist from San Antonio, Texas, where he has been creating art for more than 30 years. He and his wife Elizabeth and their 4 children all live here together. He also used to live in Oak Meadow, so some of you are going to think he looks familiar. His kids swim on the swim team and they went to Oak Meadow Elementary. He was very happy to share his art and his inspiration with a new generation of children taking art at our wonderful school. Tony was inspired by art during early childhood. His parents were art collectors, his father a successful Southwest wildlife painter, and his older brother has been an illustrator for over 30 years. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree in graphic design from California State University, Northridge, while also studying drawing with the late illustrator Glenn Orbick. At the same time, Tony learned the value of drawing and became an exemplary self-trained painter. He was also influenced by the great artists of the 19th century like John Singer Sargent, Anders Zorn, and Joaquin Sorolla. He also has great fondness for the Dutch masters as well as the Spanish masters like Velázquez. He embraces romanticism in painting, which places the feelings of the artist above all, whether it be through his figures, portraits, still life, or landscape. He paints life as seen through his own eyes. He would like to leave a legacy for people to know what he thought when he lived. Much like Van Gogh, he wants to move people. He also wants his art to cause people to think when they see his work, hoping it will inspire someone to do something positive. When asked if he could hang out with one artist, living or dead, who would he choose? He chose Rembrandt. Do you remember learning in our previous lessons that Rembrandt created more than 90 self-portraits in his lifetime? He used his own face to practice painting expressions, and he used it as an exercise in self-examination. He was seeking to know himself as he really was, flaws and all, and to analyze his own character and emotions, and he did so by painting himself in a variety of ways. So if Tony would choose Rembrandt, think about if you walked into his studio 10 years ago, what do you think you would find him making? Yep, self-portraits. Makes sense why he would like to hang out with Rembrandt, don't you think? Tony is a master at self-expression in art, as you can see by these beautiful pieces here. When Tony is making a piece of art, he starts simple, thinking of something funny or ridiculous or seeing something beautiful, and he feels like he just needs to paint it. He believes it is essential to create a powerful work of art by making sure it says something first. Then it needs to have a captivating design. Are you an aspiring artist? Tony would want you to know that you need to paint for yourself and do it with vigor. What does vigor mean? With lots of effort, energy, and enthusiasm. He also said, don't paint what others want to see, paint what you have to say. When Tony isn't motivated or inspired to create, he will switch to other ways of being creative, like playing the guitar or cooking. He says that you can't create when you aren't inspired. But he also says the best part about making art is the feeling of accomplishment when you pull something off. He likes making lots of art because he gets bored really fast. So he says each painting is an experience and I need to sample it all. Tony Pro has received many awards and has been recognized for his work. In 2005, juror Daniel Gerhartz awarded the highly coveted Best in Show award at the 14th Annual Oil Painters of America show to Pro. He has also won many finalist awards of honor from the Portrait Society of America show. In 2014, Pro received the first place award for Best Painting at the Portrait Society of America International Competition for his painting. Last Train Home is this picture that we're looking at here. He is also a signature member of the prestigious California Art Club. Oh, and one last bit of information about Tony Pro. He teaches workshops at the Capini Academy of Fine Art in San Antonio. There's a picture of his classroom. If you want to look at other pieces by Tony Pro and continue making more art after our lesson, he also has an Instagram account and his own website that is profineart.com. This piece is called Akimbe, and it will be the inspiration for our art today. So before we get started, I want you to grab a hat. You can have one that you really love or something funny, whatever you want to wear. I think it'd be great to do a piece of art with a hat on, along with some paper, a pencil, colored pencils or crayons. If you have paint and you want to give sketching with paint a try, go for it. But think of what you might have at home and allow you to recreate this piece. Gather those things together so we can get started. We will also need a printed photograph of you so that we will be able to sketch you from your shoulders up while wearing your hat. Or you can take a selfie if you don't have a way to print out a picture of you, or at the very least you can grab a mirror. But I took a picture of myself with a hat on, my favorite big fat beach hat. So I have this here that I will be drawing with you, and just my piece of paper, and I have a bunch of colored pencils and my sketching pencil. So that's pretty much what we're going to work with for this lesson. Once we have finished with our drawing, then I will have you sign your art, and you will do it with lots of flourish, have a beautiful signature, and then we will go ahead and move on to, I'll remind you of this at the end, to do the posting on Instagram or Facebook, and to use the hashtag SaddleUpMavs or hashtag Rooted Oak Meadow, and then we can all cheer each other on and see the art that we have done. So I can't wait to see your work, and have friends stay connected. So now we will move into our lesson. Make sure to gather all your supplies, hit pause, and when you're ready, hit play again. So as we move into our lesson with Tony Pro and doing a self-portrait, one other thing that you might want to have on hand is a ruler. So I have a ruler here as well. So there are a couple of ways that we can begin. You can start off with your self-portrait, and you can take a piece of paper, and you can do the very easy light box way. You can either put it on a glass table with a light coming up underneath the bottom, or you can take it to a window during the day, not at night, and then outline everything with your pencil. That is much, much easier than freehand drawing. Another way that you can do this is you can graph your paper. So you would take a ruler and you would draw lines across about every inch. Okay, so you would take a ruler and you would graph about every inch or so. Let's do every 2 inches. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to see this pencil very well. Every 2 inches like this. So 2, 4, 6, there's 8, which is fine because that's kind of off of my, so here I go again, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I will draw those lines first. I'm doing them a little harder on this piece of art. It's not going to be the same way on the paper that I'm going to draw on, this picture versus the piece of paper I'm going to draw on, because I'm going to want to erase those lines out of there. So then I'm going to come this way every 2 inches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if this is the method that you are going to use, that's really my line right there. 6, 8, 10. Draw our lines across. Whoopsies. Okay, so you do that on one page, then you're going to do the same thing on your piece of paper that you're going to draw on. But you want to do them light. You don't want to do them very dark like you did on the other one, because you want to be able to erase them. So I'm going to do very light sketches. You might not be able to see this very well on your screen. We just want to have a grid to be able to work within. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. About this point, I think I would like to do the cheating way and go over to the window, but it is still dark outside. I'm going to draw a very faint line that I can go back in and erase once I get my basic sketch in. And I'm going to come along here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I know we have done self-portraits every year at Oak Meadow. So if you have been in my class anytime in the last 3 school years, you would have done self-portraits at some point along the way. So this is going to be a more detailed artist approach to self-portraits. We will work a little bit on shading. You can take your time with it. You can use colored pencils. Or if you just want to use a pencil and get the hang of doing dark shading and light shading, you can do that as well. I just hope that you will do the lesson. Okay, so now we're going to look at each box and match them up. So for instance, in box 2 right here, the little top of my hat is coming across to about there and to about here. So you can sketch very lightly. I will, for the benefit of you being able to see, I will do mine a little bit darker. So then as I come into this box, I kind of have this little bit of a hump in my hat, and then it comes pretty much straight down. And on this side, comes a little bit down here and then kind of shoots out this way. And in here I also have So drawing like this will help you to get a much more accurate picture. And we'll just do a basic sketch to get you started. So go ahead and graph out your paper. I'm going to keep going so that I do not lose time videoing, if that's even a word. And then you can pause and come back when you're ready for next steps. So here, and then I'm going to come out down to here. So can you see how quickly this helps us to get the hat drawn? Take that to So I'm going to have two lines that come out from here. So this one is going to connect in right there. This one, which is really cool with the lines like this. This one is going to go off the page. And I'm going to be over here at this point, coming down to pretty much the bottom of this box and into here a little bit. And for this part of my hat, and then I'll do the base of my hat here. It comes in like this. Then I've got some hair. So use these grid lines to help you to draw out a better sketch of yourself. I hope you will give this a try instead of doing the window portion, but you can do the window one too if you need to. That's fine with me. Okay, then hair. Again, over here in this box, right under this part of my hat, is going to come down into here and almost into this part. I've got one piece that pretty much comes down like that. Then I'm going to have this section. So each of these little grid boxes will really help you to be able to sketch out your face and your hair and your hat and everything. So I'm going to come you can see kind of an angle in my jaw. And then there, come in. Okay, so keep on going around. I'm going to keep going with mine. If you need to pause at any time, definitely pause. Okay, I'm going to come up here. Oh, maybe I should. There's my shirt behind there. And here. Okay, so I've got a little bit of that in. Now I can do my shoulder. Come up here to my chin area. Got my hair that comes around like that. Know that this is definitely a way even that children can learn how to draw very well. Okay, so next, here we go up into eyebrows. So right here, I'm going to start and come up to about here. I'm going to try to sketch it kind of lightly till I get it going pretty well. And it comes up above here. Okay, and then from there, my eye. Got this little portion over here. Okay, and then I'll come over here. My eye might be a little bit too big. I started actually sketching my face instead of looking at the picture better, so that's probably not a good plan. Having an eraser on hand would be a good plan. That eye is too big. So you just want to easily sketch out your eye. Okay. Then my other eye. There's like a little white area in my eye, so I want to mark that. That's where the light's hitting. And then from up here, eyebrow is going to be Okay, then I'll come here with the nose. It's going to come to about here. A little rounded area that comes down. And we want to have the outside part, the curvature of the nose here, and the inner curve. That's too big. Okay, and then I've got some right here next to my nose until about this part is that. Then we've got this little thing going on. Right under my nose, there's a little, I don't know if any of you remember me teaching you how to draw lips. So get that. Okay, I'm not close enough to that line up there. So you go right along with your grid lines and follow along sketching as well. And I have a little bit of a dimple right there. So the only other thing I might do is just add a little bit of these flowers. I'm not really as concerned with that right now, just having a fun hat on and some little flowers. So there is my basic sketch. If I want to add my necklace in, which you guys know I almost always do, then I'll bring that here. This way. And from up here down. My shoulder looks a little bit weird right there. I did not do that very well. So we have a basic sketch. So now we want to go in and do some shading, and we'll use some colored pencil and some different things. I didn't get any eyelashes in over here. There's a few that you can actually see. So bring those in over here. I've got a little bit of shading. I want to lightly let myself know where that's going to be going for my cheek. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to colored pencils. So I hope you guys will do that as well. I love the way that our artist Akimbe has this beautiful hat on and lots of beautiful color, very sad looking, just peaceful face. I'm not sure if she's sad or peaceful. She looks kind of sad to me. And so we will go through with our colored pencils and try to match up with our picture and color in everything that we see. I don't want to see just solid lines. I want to see, I'm not going to do my background also. I'll end up doing that, something more, just a plain background. I'm not going to color all of that in that's in my art room. So here with this, I'm going to shade in my hat with some yellow. Now I need to come in and take out my pencil lines. That's why you need a good sketching line and a good eraser. So take out your pencil lines. You can join your art back together. Have any of these lines showing in your art. It looks like you've done a really good sketch when you do it this way. You can practice this over and over. You guys have a lot of hours that you could be practicing getting very good at sketching, just like Tony Crow or Rembrandt, that felt that that was very important to do self-portraits, and that it helps to teach you about art and paying attention to detail and getting expression down and all kinds of things in art. So I hope that you will keep working on this over and over again. You can do it in a mirror like we've done before in class. Okay, so there we go. I have all of that erased. Getting my eraser pieces off of my board. Okay, so now I can color in. I'm not sure that that's the yellow I was using before. Color in. Begin to start doing my sketching in lines. I really don't like how dark that hat line is where I got started, so I'm going to lighten that up a little bit and keep my sure that I have a pencil sharpener on hand, and I'm trying to kind of go in the direction of the grain in my hat. You don't want to go up and down and then back and forth. You want it to have a nice flow as you're filling in. So use colored pencils if you have them. If you don't have them, you can try shading and coloring in very nicely with crayon. I'm going to try to do the simplest things first. A little bit of a darker shade to come in and put some of these little lines in for my hat. You could really get detailed with this art. And we're going to do a first initial sketch and get some of these lines in. So these lines on the side of my hat are coming this direction now. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping that flow going. Because it's going to make that floppy hat look on my hat. This pencil is needing some sharpening. Oopsies, I didn't color in this part. I'm doing some quick shading. I think you guys are going to be able to do a great job at this, and hit pause and take your time. Okay, so there we go with the hat. Then I'm going to move into, I like to do the easier things first. So I'm going to take some browns and do my hair. Color those in with the 2 different shades of brown. You want to shade in your hair lightly. You don't want to just smash down on your pencil. Try to get the first run of it in, and then you can come in and add some darker shades where they're shadowing. Like in this part of my hair, it looks darker, so I'll probably add in some black at that point. When you're sketching, you do want to hold your pencil to the side. You don't want to do it straight up and down. The more angled you can get it, the better your art will be. So I have this one little piece of hair coming down like that. This is all kind of separated. There's a gap right there. And let's see what this brown looks like. I can get this a little bit darker right here. This a little darker. So I'm going to do this quickly, but you guys can definitely take your time coming through and using shading and shadows. I have on a white shirt, so I'm not really sure what to do about that. Now, since my eyes are kind of shaded, they look a little lighter than they are, a little darker than they usually are. So I'm going to use this color in here. Okay. Take a little bit of pink. Shade in the lip area. Just real lightly. You guys could actually get a really good book about drawing faces. There's one for kids that's really good to really teach you about shading and shadows. So like the light is coming from this way. So then I can come in and darken this part up a little bit on this side. And then it'll look, if I keep on doing that with everything on my face, you'll be able to see that the light is hitting this side and not this side. So now I'm going to want to move into some more, I'm not sure if this is going to be a good color. I can do it on here. Not too bad. For a peachy face color, I can really lightly sketch this on here. And I can come back through and shade. Don't want to do our eyeball since our eyeball is going to be white. Shade in your face. Now I remember you guys did the, I think Liechtenstein, was it dot art this year for your self-portrait? It was really good. Y'all did a fantastic job. So a little more shading this way. Remember, keep your pencil to the side. And I have on some eyeshadow, so I'm going to move that into the little bit darker shadows up here. This is where you want to start working with shadowing, shading in really well, and looking at where the light is hitting your face. I'm going to look at where you've got your cheeks and how I'm going to make this, instead of that peachier tone, I'll add a little bit of pink in. Just to accentuate that little bit of color coming in on my cheekbone right there. And it needs to be a little bit darker over here. So just look at areas of lights and darks now. You can start to shade in, like in this area of my nose. This part is a little bit darker, so I can put some shadowing in different areas to create depth and dimension. But this part is really light, so I don't want to go where the light is hitting it. I can go right above it. Keep the light up the bridge of my nose and this part a little bit darker. All of this will help add some dimension to the face. Anywhere you see light, don't color in. So I've got some shadowing going on over here. More shadowing around this cheekbone. This is really light on my neck. A little bit here. So I could keep working on this for hours and hours and hours. I'm not going to go too much longer, just so you guys get the hang of it and you can keep on working on your self-portrait. I do want to come up here and grab a black and try to do some shading. Trying not really to be very precise in my scarf on my hat. I'm okay with that. I'm just trying to fill in some spots so I can come around and shade in with the black while leaving some white areas for the flower petals. just so that you have the gist of it for how this should be. Cannot wait to see what you guys do. You are wonderful artists. Make sure if you need to go back and pause and take your time or start over again, that's completely fine too. You can end up with a really cool piece of art of what you looked like during a worldwide pandemic. You can hang on to this. You could write a story with it about what life was like during this time. Something you could hang on to and share with family and friends down the road, nieces and nephews when you're grown up, or with your own children. Okay, so there goes the scarf on the top of my hat. Need a little bit more color on my eyelids. Need to do my eyebrows in a little bit darker brown. The pencil that is pretty much gone. Some of my pencils could really use some sharpening, so that got kind of messed up right there. Okay, I'll use some black for some eyelashes. Just, you don't want to have long, stringy eyelashes or too thick. Do what's realistic looking. And I now want to also see what I need to do about this, because I've got some definite new wrinkles coming in and showing up, and I don't want to try to pretend over here like I'm okay. Any other shading I've got to do? I'll use this. So we've got a little bit of shadow coming in right here. So just look at the areas where you have lights and darks and try to get all of your shadowing and shading in, and take your time. You could go layer after layer, just filling in more and more shadows. All right, so I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to get a little bit of a black outline here around my eyeball a little bit, and in the pupil. Area. And I'm going to leave the background open just for the sake of time, but you could come in and shade in the background here, coming in with whatever color you wanted to use. If you want to, just make sure to keep your pencil at an angle so that you cover more ground and you have a very light shading area. I love in the piece of art that is our inspiration that there's a couple of different colors. There's some blacks and some pink hues, and so you could mix some different things in and do a base layer and then come back in and add in some alternate colors like some blacks or some whites. Well, I'm already doing it, so I'll continue going. I wasn't planning on continuing to go, but I will. Got some bumps on my artist board. This drafting table is my mom's from all the years that she drew house plans when I was growing up and into my adult years. And so when she retired from the home building business, she gave me her drafting table, and I've been using it for my artist table all of these years. But I keep this board on top of it just so I don't mess up the actual table itself. It's very special to me. So now y'all know a little bitty tidbit of information about me that you didn't know before. My mom was also part of the last pandemic. Polio, I think, was the last one, and she got polio when she was 9 years old. So she was handicapped all of my life and most of her life. So then we can come in and do a little bit of like Tony Pro did. There's some different shading of some blacks and grays in here. So just can do it real lightly and get some pattern and shading going on in here behind the scenes. Just for a different look in the background. So there you go. When you're finished with yours, I would like for you to take a picture of it, and if you would please post it on Facebook or on Instagram and use the hashtag SaddleUpMabs or Rooted Oak Meadow, hashtag Rooted Oak Meadow. We want to stay in touch and stay connected, so that's a good way for us to be able to comment and encourage ourselves and encourage our friends. Make sure to like this video, and I can't wait to see your art. I miss you guys so much. Have a great day.